When you first step into the world of rare plants, it feels a little like walking into a secret club where every leaf has a story and every price tag makes you blink twice. These aren't your everyday houseplants you snag at the local garden center. These are the showstoppers collectors fly across continents to get their hands on. Some of them cost more than a vacation, a laptop, even a used car, and yet people hunt them down because they're just that special. From plants that grow only in tiny pockets of remote jungles to variegated beauties that take years to perfect, each one has a reason behind its crazy price. And honestly, once you hear the stories, you realize it's not just about the money, it's about rarity, patience, and a little obsession. Whether you're a casual plant lover or someone who dreams of owning a botanical masterpiece, these pricey plants will definitely surprise you. So let's dive into the world of green luxury and explore what makes these beauties worth every penny. The variegated monstera is easily one of the most expensive plants around the world, and it earns that title the moment you see those creamy white splashes running across its leaves like nature's own paint job. What makes it so pricey is the genetics behind that variegation. Only a small percentage of propagated cuttings actually hold their pattern, so growers invest months just to see which ones turn out right. It needs bright, indirect light to keep those white sections from fading, a well-draining chunky soil mix, and careful watering since the white areas don't photosynthesize and the plant grows slower as a result. A single cutting can sell anywhere from $200 to well over $1,000 depending on the pattern, and the fully grown, highly marbled specimens hit several thousand easily. Collectors love it not only because it looks luxurious in any room but because it feels like owning a living piece of art that no two people will ever have in exactly the same pattern. The Alocasia Azlanii is one of those plants that instantly tells you it's rare the moment you look at it, with those deep metallic leaves that shift between purple, green, and bronze depending on the light, almost like a living gemstone. Its high price comes from how slow and selective the growing process is. Many growers in Borneo, its native region, spend months nurturing a single plant to get that bold glossy sheen and defined vein pattern collectors want. It prefers bright filtered light, evenly moist soil with good aeration, and higher humidity to keep the leaves from crisping, and because it doesn't produce pups quickly, every healthy specimen feels like a win. In the plant market, a strong, well-colored Azlanii can cost anywhere between $300 to $800, and the more dramatic the color contrast, the higher the number goes. What really hooks people is the luxe vibe it gives off, like you're caring for a botanical jewel instead of just another houseplant, which is exactly why it's considered one of the most expensive plants around the world. The Ginseng Ficus earns its spot among expensive plants because it blends the charm of a miniature tree with the thick, sculpted roots that look like they've been shaped by an artist, not nature. Its swollen, bonsai-like base takes years to develop. Growers often spend 5 to 7 years training those roots before the plant is even ready to sell, which is a big reason the price climbs. It thrives in bright, indirect light, needs a well-draining soil mix, and prefers consistent moisture without ever sitting in water, and these basics help maintain its smooth bark and glossy green canopy. In the bonsai world, a mature Ginseng ficus with a well-defined root structure can easily cost from a few $100s to over $1,000 depending on age and styling. What makes people love it is how it gives the look of a traditional bonsai without demanding extreme care, making it the perfect blend of artistry, longevity, and collectability, one of the reasons it's recognized as an expensive plant around the world. The large Monstera Obliqua is practically the crown jewel of rare plants, famous for those insanely delicate leaves that are more whole than actual leaf, which is exactly why collectors pay such high prices for it. Unlike its look-alike, the Adansonii, the true Obliqua grows painfully slow, sometimes pushing out only 1 or 2 leaves a year, and growers have to keep it in near-perfect conditions, bright filtered light, warm temperatures, high humidity, and a super airy substrate just to keep it happy. Because it's native to small pockets of Peru and not mass-produced, a mature plant with big, fenestrated leaves can sell anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, and the really impressive specimens go even higher. What makes people obsessed with it is the almost unreal appearance. Those thin, lace-like leaves make it look less like a houseplant and more like something out of a fantasy film, a living piece of art that instantly signals you're dealing with one of the most expensive plants around the world. The Strelitzia nicolai variegata is one of those plants that stops you mid-scroll because its huge banana-like leaves are streaked with bold white variegation that looks completely unreal, and that dramatic pattern is exactly why it's one of the most expensive plants in the world. The variegation gene is unstable, so growers lose a ton of seedlings before they get a stable, high-contrast plant, which makes every strong specimen incredibly valuable. It needs bright, strong light to keep those white patches from fading, a chunky, fast-draining soil mix, and steady watering since the big leaves pull moisture quickly, but the white sections slow down growth. A mature, well-variegated Strelitzia can easily cost between $2,000 and $10,000 depending on leaf size and pattern sharpness. Collectors love it because it gives that tropical, luxury resort vibe right inside the living room, massive, architectural, and impossible to ignore, which is exactly why it's considered one of the standout expensive plants around the world. The Monstera Esqueleto gets its name from the skeletal look of its massive, deeply fenestrated leaves, and that dramatic structure is exactly why collectors pay a premium for it all over the world. Native to Costa Rica's cloud forests, it grows slower and needs more controlled conditions than the common Monstera varieties, which drives up its value since growers invest months just to get a single impressive leaf. It prefers bright, indirect light, a super airy aeroid mix, and consistent humidity so those large perforations don't tear, and when it's given the right care, its leaves can reach 2 to 3 feet long with bold cutouts that look sculpted. Mature specimens with well-shaped fenestrations can sell anywhere from $500 to several $1,000s depending on size and leaf quality. What really makes it stand out is its presence. When you walk into a room and see one, it feels like a living piece of modern art, which is exactly why the Monstera Esqueleto is considered one of the most expensive plants around the world. The Philodendron pink princess earns its luxury status the moment you see those bubblegum pink patches splashed across its dark, almost chocolate-colored leaves, a contrast that looks completely unreal and makes collectors chase the highest variegation they can find. Its price shoots up because stable pink variegation is rare. Growers lose tons of cuttings to green reversions, and the ones that keep that bright color take slow, careful propagation to maintain the pattern. It thrives in bright, indirect light, a well-draining chunky mix, and moderate watering to keep the pink sections from burning or fading since those areas don't photosynthesize well. A highly variegated pink princess with large, crisp patches can cost anywhere from a couple $100s to over $1,000 depending on color intensity and leaf size. What makes people obsessed with it is that every leaf feels like opening a surprise, no two patterns are ever the same, and a beautifully marbled specimen instantly elevates any plant collection, which is why it's considered one of the most expensive and sought-after plants around the world. The Peepal Bonsai earns its place among the world's expensive plants because it combines deep cultural significance with decades of patient shaping, making every tree feel like a living sculpture with its own personality. The peepal tree itself is known for its long lifespan. Some grow for centuries, so when artists train one into a bonsai, they often invest 10 to 20 years refining the trunk taper, aerial roots, and branch movement before it's even considered ready for serious collectors. It thrives in bright light, warm temperatures, and consistently moist but well-draining soil, and its naturally fast growth means it needs regular pruning to maintain its refined structure. Well-trained, aged peepal bonsai can sell from several $100s to several $1,000 depending on trunk thickness, root spread, and styling maturity. What makes it truly special is the sense of wisdom it carries, like you're caring for a tiny ancient tree that's been frozen in time, which is exactly why the peepal bonsai stands out as one of the most expensive and meaningful plants around the world. A true bonsai tree is one of the most expensive plants in the world because you're not just buying a plant, you're buying decades of patience, technique, and artistic discipline shaped into a living masterpiece. Unlike regular houseplants, a bonsai can take anywhere from 10 to 50 years to develop that perfect trunk taper, textured bark, defined nabari, and balanced canopy, and some of the finest specimens are trained by multiple generations of artists. It needs bright indirect light, a fast-draining bonsai mix, careful watering, often daily in summer, and precise pruning and wiring to maintain its miniature tree form without losing health or proportion. High-quality bonsai, especially species like juniper, pine, or ficus with mature, aged trunks, can range from a few $100s to well over $10,000, and historical specimens have even sold for over $100,000 at auctions in Japan. What makes people pay that kind of money is the emotional weight behind each tree. You're essentially caring for a piece of living history, shaped slowly by human hands and time, which is why bonsai remains one of the most expensive and revered plant forms around the world. The tree Philodendron, often known as Philodendron sellum or lacy tree philodendron, earns its place among expensive plants thanks to its massive, deeply cut leaves and the incredible architectural presence it brings into any space. Unlike smaller philodendrons, This one grows slowly and takes years to develop that thick trunk-like base and wide canopy, which is why mature, well-shaped specimens cost a premium. It thrives in bright, indirect light, rich but well-draining soil, and steady watering to keep those huge leaves glossy without letting the roots sit in moisture. Large, fully grown plants can sell anywhere from a couple $100s to well over $1,000, especially when they've been trained to grow upright with a symmetrical crown. What makes collectors love it is how instantly it transforms a room. It gives that lush, tropical, almost resort-style look that feels expensive and intentional, which is exactly why the tree Philodendron continues to be recognized as one of the more valuable plants around the world. The variegated mini Monstera, often called variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, has become one of the most expensive plants around the world because its bright white and minty variegated leaves show up only in a tiny percentage of successful propagations. Growers lose a lot of cuttings to green reversions, so the plants that actually keep strong marbling take months of careful lighting, pruning, and nutrient balancing to maintain that rare pattern. It thrives in bright, indirect light, a chunky well-draining mix, and consistent watering that keeps the soil slightly moist without ever going soggy, since those white sections slow growth and are more prone to burning. A well-variegated mini Monstera with half-moon leaves or bold marbling can sell for several $100s, and mature vines with stable variegation push into the $1,000+ range depending on leaf size and pattern consistency. What makes collectors chase it is that perfect mix of rarity and aesthetics, tiny leaves with dramatic contrast that look like a designer version of the classic Monstera, which is why the variegated mini Monstera is considered one of the standout expensive plants worldwide. The Monstera oceana mint has quickly climbed into the category of the world's expensive plants because its soft mint green variegation looks almost airbrushed, giving each leaf a dreamy, pastel look that collectors can't get enough of. What makes it so pricey is how unpredictable that mint pattern is. Growers might spend months nurturing cuttings only to have most of them revert, so the few that hold their coloration become incredibly valuable. It prefers bright, indirect light to keep the mint tones from fading, a chunky aeroid soil mix for airflow, and steady, moderate watering since the lighter leaf areas photosynthesize less and slow the plant's growth. A strong oceana mint with clean marbling or half-mint leaves can easily sell from several $100 to over $1,000 depending on size and color sharpness. Collectors love it because it feels like a softer, more delicate take on the classic Monstera aesthetic, unique, elegant, and instantly eye-catching, which is exactly why the Monstera oceana mint is considered one of the most expensive and desirable plants around the world. And there you have it, some of the most expensive and extraordinary plants found around the world, each with its own story, personality, and price tag that sometimes feels a little wild but always has a reason behind it. Whether you dream of owning one someday or you're just here for the beauty and the curiosity, these plants remind us how diverse and artistic nature can be when we give it time and care. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more plant deep dives like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me which rare plant surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.